HTML forms and input tags. An HTML form is used to collect user input. The user input is most often sent to a server for processing. In your programming journey, you will use HTML in forms and input tags a lot because that is how you collect information from the end users. And let's get to it. So, to get a simple HTML form running, first thing we need to do is we need to create our file. So we'll call this file form.html. The reason why we create different files is so that you can always go back and check what you've done. So I'm going to paste everything we have. So from the last videos I reviewed, some people are using viewpoints. This is not viewpoint. This is viewports, okay? Please check the spellings with mine and correct them accordingly. So viewports, contents. Let me enlarge the screen so you see everything in the new line. So you see it's all on one line. Meta name, viewports, contents, width, device width, initial scale, okay? So please take note of the spellings. So I'm going to change this to form, and I will revert back to my previous state so that we can have it side by side. And also I'm going to open the form file here. So I'm going to clean everything. So we have a blank document, okay? So form. Good. So everything is working correctly. So back to our slide. An HTML form. And how do you create an HTML form? It's simple. You use the form tag. So we say form. So open bracket form, close bracket form. But nothing happens in the browser because it's just a tag. For your form tag, you have some attributes. The first attribute is called action. Action is where you want to send the user to after submitting the form. Then we have method, which is going to be the method that the user is going to, you want the form to be sent. So we have get, or you can use post. The difference between get and post is that when you use get, you know what, I'm going to show you the difference when we have enough elements in our form. But right now, let's leave it on get. Nothing still happens on our browser. That is because we only created an empty form tag with attributes, but we've not put in some items. Now, back here, the first thing we have is select. You know what a select is, but you may not, you've used it a lot, but you may not know how to create it. So this is the difference between you and others. Today, you'll be able to create any form tag. Anything you've used on the website, you're going to create it today. But before we go, I'll do it a bit scattered. So first, I want to talk about field set and legend. So what does field set and legend do for you? Field set and legend helps you to group your form elements, okay? So let's create a quick field set and legend. The truth is most times you would not use this maybe after this class anymore. Okay, maybe in our project, but it's not something that is very common. So to create a field set, we also write, so it's a tag on its own, field set, okay, opening and closing tag. You see the way it is. Then if I reload the page, you can see. So the field set is what gives this line, this box. Then when you have the field set, you now have your legend. So your legend is going to be like the name of the field set. So we can call this learning HTML form. Okay, or you know what, let's make it simple. Let's say, because most of you will call it a contact form, so we can say this is a contact form. If you check the browser, you can see now. Let me enlarge. So you see contact form. So this is what our field set and legend does. The field set gives you this border, this box. Then the legend gives you the title, contact form. Now we can proceed inside of the field sets. So we can now go back to our select. Remember, I was talking about select. So for select, it's also simple. So you will see what a select does now. To create a select tag, all you need to do, you already know how to do that, right? Every tag will have an opening and a closing. So we say select and you close, but nothing happens. If I reload, you see, it's an empty. Do you know what a select is now? So when you have a select, just like the way you have in your list, you have ordered list, then you have list items. In select, you have what we call options. So this one, option. So let's assume I want to ask you, what country are you from, right? But in select, you also have what we call attributes. You can use name, you can use tag, ID, okay? And inside of the select, we now have the first one, we have option. You can have a lot of option inside of your select, and each option will have an attribute called value. Okay, so it could be the same thing you have outside here. So let's say the first country is Nigeria. If I reload this, you can see now we have Nigeria on the form, right? But let's make it more descriptive. And how do we do that? We use what we call a label. This one, so you can see it, we can have a label. So a label is going to be the description of each element. So right above the select, we can have a label. And what are we going to name? So our label is going to be, please select country. Okay. So if I reload this now, you can see, please select country is right there with our select. So I'm going to duplicate this so that we can have other countries, because I know a lot of you are watching me from different countries. So we can have Ghana here. I'm going to use African countries. We can have Kenya here. We can have Cameroon here. And we can have Rwanda. If I reload, you can see this is how your select works. So when you have a select, you can select any country that you want. So select makes it easy for you to make selections. So it's also, when you use your label can also have an attribute of ID. So if you want the label and a tag to work the same, you give them the same ID. So the label ID, sorry, not label, so it will be label 4. So your ID here, let's call this country. Then the label is also going to be country. So the idea is the label is controlling the select. If I reload this now, and if I select this, you can see what happens. It highlights the select. So select country, you see what happens. Okay. So now you understand how the label works. And this is how your select works. Also, in the select, we can change the size. So if you want to show only 3 items or 2, so size, we can say 2. Before it shows everything, but now we can show 2 items at the same time. But I like to keep it simple, like this. Also, you can select multiple things. So you can use the multiple selection or multiple attributes. So you call it multiple. And if we reload, you see, now you can select. If you use control button, you can now select a lot. But I like to use my select the way it is naturally. So this is how your select works naturally. The next one is after select, we can now create another one called test area. Test area, when you use websites, you see there's a comment form that tells you, please put in a comment. That's what the test area does for you. So I'm going to use the HR tag to separate all our items. So HR, HR, save. Oh, sorry, wrong spelling. So HR, okay. Then I'm going to use the BR tag after our label. Good. Please select country. Or let me take it out. Now for test area, let's create a label too again. Label input or type message. So let's say type message. Then for the test area tag, we can do a lot. We can do something like we can tell them how many rows and columns that we want. All right. So first we can say rows, maybe 10 rows, columns, maybe we want 10 columns. So if we reload, you will see, it's not looking long, but so let me make it 3 rows. So I want you to see the difference now. You see 3 rows, we can make these 20 columns. So type message, then now I can put the BR here. So they are stacked. So you can see type message, and I can type inside. You can see I'm typing. You can try it out on your own. And I can delete everything. So this is your select. This is how to create a select. This is how to create a test area. The next tag we need to look out for is the button. And how do we create a button? Very simple. You've also used buttons a lot. To create a button, all you need to do is just to use the button tag. And we say submit form. If we reload, you can see we now have a button. Okay, we now have a button. So let me put a BR tag to separate it. So you see we have a submit form. This is how you create a button. Okay, so we have a select, we have a select, we have a test area, we have a submit. Now your forms are not complete because there are a lot of missing stuff, and now it's time to put them in. And this is what leads us to using the input tag. The input tag is what you would use a lot because most of the forms you want to create, you would be using inputs to create them. Now let's get into this. So inputs is a simple HTML tag and it works with the attribute type. So if I say input is a self-closing tag, it's just blank. Then you have the attribute called type. So you must always give it an attribute, okay? So I would call this test. This gives you a simple test field. To make it easy, let's put a label just above it. Okay, so label, I don't need the for because I'm not going to work with that. Let's call this one full name. That's the label name. Remember, when they want to take your full name, you have a form like this. So you see, this is just it. I can put in my full name, Precious Iriaevho. Simple. this is how it works. So this is the input type test. This one gives you a form field for you to type in data inside. Also, you can have a placeholder. The placeholder can be maybe something like enter full name. And if I reload this page, sorry, my apostrophe is on the wrong place. Good. Look at the way I typed it. Enter full name, and you see I can enter my name. If I delete it, enter full name is still being shown. Okay, good. So right now I'm going to be doing copy and pasting, but always take note of the input type because it will be changing. Okay, now that we have full name, the next input type I want us to look at is it could be anyone. Let's look at checkbox. So for checkbox, we don't need a placeholder. So I will change the type towards checkbox and save. So you see, you've always seen it in action. So this is a checkbox where they tell you to select more than one options. So we can have more than one checkbox together. And as you can see, different checkbox. So let's call this, let's say, select food. Yeah, select food, what you want to eat. So for me, I would say rice here. This is rice, beans, bread. Can you see it now? Rice is selected, beans is selected, bread. And you can unselect and you can select more than one. You can select more than one. The next thing we need to look out for is, okay, still on checkbox. So you need to understand some things with the checkbox, right? So with the checkbox, you have to give them different name. So this one could be rice because there are different values so that you can select different name. This one beans, and this one is bread. Okay, so this is a checkbox. This is a checkbox. The next one is radio. So radio is similar to checkbox. The difference is in radio, you can only select one item at a time. So input type, radio. So we use this one for something like gender. So select gender. Are you male or female or transgender? So the first thing you need to do when you want to work with radio is they will all have the same name because they are the same. So we'll name this all gender. So I will say gender. Then this is male. So I'm going to copy this input type radio into two other places. And I'll call this one female. I'll also have this one as maybe binary. I don't know. There's been something about binary. So if we reload, you can see we are building a form already now. Full name, you enter your full name, select your food, rice or beans. Select gender, male, female. You see, I can only select one at a time. That is the difference between radio and checkbox. Let me do something. So in front, let me put the name of the inputs. So this one is a checkbox. And this one is a radio. Okay. Then for select, I'm also going to do that. I will call this, okay, I have select already. Then for test area, I'll also do that and call it test area so that you can know the names of each one. So if I reload, good, you can see test, checkbox, and this is a radio. This is a select, and this is a test area. Now the next thing, or the next input tag that we should check out, there are a lot of them actually. The next one we want to check out is button. So with button, you can also have, so instead of having this built button the way we created it here, you can also use your inputs to create a button. And how do we do that? It's simple. All you need to do is just say input, then the type. The type is what changed the input. So input is a button. If we save and reload, you see nothing is shown because we need to give it a value. So I will say value is equal to another submit button. Save, and you can see it. So let me put an HR tag to separate this. So reload, you can see another submit button created with an input type button. Now let's check our other input types. So I'm going to be using them above this button. So let me give space. And the next one we want to check out is, that should be, so we have email, input type email. What this one does is it collects only email, okay? So if I say input type email, it's like this one. So let's say enter email. Email. It is like the test, but this one only accepts email. Test will accept anything, but this one accepts only email. If I try to submit, it won't work. So you have to use it as an email. So it looks for this figure, this character art. If art is not there, it doesn't work. The next one we want to check out is password. You've used this one a lot when you log in on different social media platforms. So I'm going to change this to password. And the input type is going to be password. You will see what happens now. So for password, anything you type in cannot be seen. See, password, nothing is visible. That is why it is password. There is a lot of input type, okay? Also, we have dates, we have email. So if I want you to do this now, I can ignore the label and just start going about this separately, but I want you to see it. I want you to understand it. That is why I'm trying to go through this stress. So if you're feeling annoyed that I'm taking a lot of time, please, I'm sorry. So input type date. So enter dates or select dates. Then you change the input type to dates. If I reload this now, you can see I can select my date. Can you see it? This is the input for you to put in dates. So I know you are getting ideas now by looking at this, because this is how it works. I can also change it to time, input type time, to select time. If I reload, just in front of it, you can see it. You see I can select my time, the time I want. This is 6:35 a.m. anytime. You can also select months. Okay, so just change the time to type months. Right in front of it, you will see it here. See what month? February of 2023. See, this is how you select it. So now we've been able to do for dates, and we have the one for dates, we have the one for time, We have the one for month. Another one you need to know is file input. If I want to upload image, so if I say upload image, okay, so this one is called file. So the input type is file, input type file. This gives us something that helps us to upload documents. So if I save this and reload, you can see it, upload image file, choose file, no file selected. If I click on this, I can actually select a file. You can see I've selected MPI SQL data. So you see this one is to select and upload images or anything in your website. Okay. We also have something similar to button, and we call that one submit. So if I say input type submit, it's similar to button. I will call this another submit button, another submit button here. So you see, this one actually submits the form. Can you see the page has reloaded? It's reloading. Button is not submitting, but this one submits the form. Okay. So now let's proceed. We also have another one. So I'm grouping the ones that are like buttons together. If you notice, we have another one called reset. Input type reset. This one resets the form if you have values there before. So I will call this one, the value should be reset form. If we reload, we see there's reset form here. How does it work? This is how it works. In this input, for the input type tests, I can put in a value, and the value will be my name, Precious Iriaevho. Okay. If I reload, you see the value is there already. Now, what if I delete this and type in something? And I don't want it, I want to reset. If I click on reset, you see it has gone back to my name because it is the normal value that was there before. So reset helps you to reset your form back to the original state. So we have 3 button types here already, or 4. The next thing we need to look at is, so image and file works the same way. So input file image, it is what you use to input file or any document, PDF or whatever that you want in your file. So also other similar ones to input type text, we have another one called search. So instead of input type text, you can also use search. So if you're creating a search form, you can say type is equals to search. And as you can see, it's like an input form, but this one is a search, and it comes with this X to cancel everything that you've typed in. So this one is for search. Okay, this one is for search. Input type search. Let me do it the way I've been doing it instead of to create confusion. So I'll put this just after password. We'll call it search. So input type search. And the type is called search. So if we reload, you can see for search, if I type in anything, there's an X for me to delete. Okay, I can delete. Try it out on your own browser. Password, nothing is shown. Okay, so we've been able to touch a lot. There is also number. So if you want to collect only number from the user, only number, maybe phone numbers, you change this one to number, input number. So the type is going to be what? Number. Always pause the video if I'm too fast. So this is number. I cannot type in any word. I can only type in number. You can try it. Only numbers will enter here. Nothing else will go in. That is why it is the input type number. There is another one called range. I'm trying to touch all of them so that whenever you see them again, you'll be like, wow, Precious has shown me this. So we can enter a range. And this one input type is range. And what does this do? Let's see. You see, the range gives you a slider. So you have a slider. You've seen it a lot in many websites, but now you are creating it yourself. Applaudissez. So this is it. Is a range. Okay. Also, if you want to collect only website address from people, you can also do that by using the input type URL. Okay. So we say enter website. If you're on VS Code, if you want to do this, just use alternate, then click on the next place. Okay. So enter website, and I'll call this URL. So this one only takes in websites. If you don't have www, you cannot submit this form. It's going to throw an error. Okay, you see, it says, please enter a URL. Same thing with the email. If I click on submit, you can see, please include @ So it's telling me the error, the problem I have with them. That is why you have to be specific on the input type that you are using or you want to use. Okay, guys. So I think we've basically touched everything, but there is one more. There's another one called color. So you can use this to select color. You've also used it, but today you're creating it yourself. Color. If I save this and I reload, wow, we've touched a lot here. See, enter color. And as you can see, I can choose a color. Can you see? I'm selecting different colors. And you can even pick. So you see, it's all basically working together. So if you have an idea already, you can see that we've practically created a complete contact form that takes the details of a person. You understand? I can collect anything from anybody. So I want you to know that it's not that difficult. It's practically easy if you put your mind to it. So please try to test out all this input form that I've created. The names are on the browser. So anyone you want, just change the input type to test, checkbox, radio, email. So this is it again. If you follow me through, you should have all this on your page. You should have this on your page, okay? Because form is going to be important in your software or web developer journey. All right, guys. So let's proceed to the next one. And what is the next one? But before I go, one last one with dates. With dates. You can also do weeks. I forgot to tell you that. So let's just say week. You won't use them, but I just want you to know it. I don't want to hide anything from you. So if we save this, select week. As you can see, you can also select the week. So what week are you selecting? Week 38, week 40. Okay, so everything is possible. Everything can be selected. Now, the next thing I want us to talk about is, let's go back to our slide. And that will be HTML audio. So we are almost at the tail end of finishing with HTML. So the HTML audio element is used to play an audio file on the web page. Without talking too much, let's do it. So what do? We create a new file called audio.html. Then we copy any of the current documents we have and paste. Delete everything in the body and change the title HTML audio. Also, for it to work, please go on your computer and copy any audio file that you like and copy it to this folder. I copied one and I called it audio.mp3 so that I can type the name easily. You can name it anything, it doesn't matter. We are going to look for it by the name. So we can reload this and pick our audio HTML file now. Now, to create an audio file, it's very simple. All you need to do is you use the audio tag. You should know this now. Anytime you call something, you use the tag to create it. If we reload the page, nothing is visible. So what do? The first thing we need to do is we need a source. Okay, a source. We need to tell the computer where to look for our audio from. And where is it? We use src. And the audio file I'm looking for is called audio.mp3 because it's in the same folder. Audio.mp3. Please take note of these apostrophes. Okay, take note of them. Then you have to select the type. What is the type? This file, the type is what? Audio mp3. You can see it's an mp3 file. Let me make this wider. Good, it's an mp3 file. You can even copy it if you have another audio type. Let's say I have an audio called an audio that is AAC. Yeah, the audios are AAC too. I will change this to AAC. Also, some people's browser cannot play audio, so you have to tell them something, right? I will say your browser cannot play audio. I hope your own browser can play it. If I save and I reload, you can see nothing is visible on the page, and you will know why right now. Why is because we need control. And how do we get control? You come here at the first opening tag and you type in what we call controls. That's the attributes. And now if I reload, you can see my file is visible and I can play it. Okay, so if you're on your computer right now, you can actually play it. I just played it, but I'm using a microphone, so you cannot hear it because the speaker will work on my end. But from your end, press play and see what happens. And you can pause it, and you can also, move the search or the seek icon. You can also mute the audio. So you see you have a audio player on your browser right now. Congratulations, you've just created your first audio. Also, if you want it to play immediately somebody loads the page, though I don't like this, you put autoplay. Okay, so if you have autoplay and you reload, you start playing immediately, but I don't like it. People don't like it too. So please remove autoplay if you don't want it to play immediately the page has been loaded. Okay, because it's annoying. But if you want it to play but you don't want the people to hear it, you can use muted. So it will be playing but they won't hear it. So let's reload. As you can see, it's playing, see pause, but it is muted. So this is it, guys, on HTML audio. I hope this was very helpful for you. Now, the next one we want to look at is what we call HTML video. It is also similar to the audio. So let's copy everything here and let's create a new file called video.html. And I'm going to drop it. So I copied everything from our audio file. Then I will delete everything here. So right now we want to deal with HTML video. And video works similarly too. So you start with the opening video tag and closing video tag. First of all, let's open the video file, video HTML. So this is it, HTML video. Now the next thing is, you know how it works already. We want the source, so the source of the video. So please, like I've done too, get a video and bring it to this folder. I've brought in a video and I called it video.mp4. So bring in a video that you have and bring it here. Okay. So source. And what is the source of my video? src. The video is called video.mp4. And remember, you have to put the type, right? So the type is what? It is a video, but it is mp4, that is /mp4. I like to copy it. So if I have another video type, let's say the other video is let's say AVI, yeah, AVI or MKV. So I will say AVI. And for those whose browsers cannot play video, I will tell them your browser cannot play video. Save that. And if we reload our page, you can see the video is here, but it's so big and it can't play because, so it's the HTML video, but it can't play. So what do we do? First of all, I bring in controls. So you use controls too again. And if we reload, you see I now have control, I can play, but let's make it better. Let's give it a width. So I will say the width should be probably 300. Okay. And now you see it's small. Let's make it bigger. The width should be probably 800. Aha, it's big now. So I can play this video.
Hi everyone.
See, the video is playing.
My name is Precious.
I can move. I'm moving it. You can see HTML video working for you. Cool. I've paused it. It's showing you the remaining minutes, and you can see you can mute the audio. You can do a lot. Playback speed, picture in picture. So you see, practically, you can also use autoplay. You can use autoplay here too. It will start playing immediately. You can also use what we call muted. So you can also mute the video. So this is it on HTML video. But before we go, I also want to show you how to use YouTube videos, okay? So right under here, I'm going to call our HR tag again. So to input a YouTube video, what you do is just you use an iframe. So this tag is called iframe. Opening iframe and closing iframe. Then inside of the iframe, so right here, the first opening iframe tag, we have to bring the source of the video. So let's go on YouTube and get a video quickly. So I'll go to YouTube. I'll get the first video that we have. Barcelona, Sevilla. I will just copy the link of the video. You see, I'm copying the link. I'll take it back here. That is our source, okay? That's our source. And I can also give it a width of 800. And save. And let's reload this. You see, the video did not come because it said YouTube refused to connect. So another way to do that is you use embed. So click on share. Click on embed. And you can see you can actually copy this iframe entirely. And let's go. I will use it to replace my iframe here and paste. So this one is coming from YouTube. And if we reload, you can see the video is on our browser now, and we can also play it. We can also play our own. So guys, this is it on HTML video, and actually this is it on the entire HTML training. You've been able to understand all the different HTML tags. In the next videos, we will be working on our HTML projects. So guys, I'm delighted to have you from the beginning to the end of this journey, and I'll see you in the HTML project videos before we go to CSS. Thank you guys and stay safe. Precious out.